gonna be there at 7:30 tomorrow morning. You know,
I saw that over the whole lot about.
Let me show you the number.
That's what they're trying to do.
And part of that,
I just got
from
actually heard on the way over
Online.
here. This
Oh,
Lot more meaning.
so late instead of like 3:30.
talk to them.
that's why the party so bad.
I gotta. Got it. Well, that's- Okay. What was that?
That's right.
Doesn't matter.
I have a lot. The number of rounds.
Get them all there. Get them over there.
Okay,
We're in Chester.
we have a quorum. I'll call the meeting in order. Reading and approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. I won't read it. Move. Selected.
Yeah.
Motion made and seconded. Additions, corrections, comment. We're gonna wait for her.
I.
But if I make a small amendment, that motion can also include the governance committee minutes.
I'll support that. Second.
On favor.
Aye.
Oh,
Which committee was that on?
Governance committee from last
last
month.
one.
Oh, Leslie. Okay.
Bills, communications. Katie.
Okay, so we have our usual NYSEG bill, which is $190.46, I think. That is automatically deducted from our bank account. We have the monthly interest for the CCDC loan, which is $1,583. And that's due on the first of the month. And we have an invoice from Mike for the for
Monthly.
his monthly thing of $4,166.66. Those are all the bills we have right now.
We do have a proposal. I'm gonna add to this here. Is we got contacted by the milk plant that we have a number of lights out over on Eagle Drive, and my understanding, this is a recurring.
Yeah, it's not going problem.
So I called Randy Knapp and he sent over a proposal to put in new lights, LEDs that he said are much more efficient and cost effective long term, but the cost of ordering and install it is about 10 grand right now. So he can do a Band-Aid fix as he has been doing, or he can actually go on there and fix it right now as he's proposing.
How much is the Band-Aid?
That's, I think, looking back at some of the old
Isn't it a county
invoices from
I
him,
think
it's
this
about
needs
$1,000 or so with that.
So
Anything.
will any of these poles be impacted by any construction from CMI or
Not to my knowledge.
EHD or whatever it is?
And so we own the road.
I think we're technically responsible for all the lights on it, but that was a question I did have for Justin and Rick is, moving forward, are we continuing to be responsible for all the light
No,
maintenance?
I thought CMI was.
Yeah, I brought it up several times that
Yeah,
we should get out of the light business.
all right.
I
Because if
agree.
we wait 3-4 days, we're no longer responsible for the lights.
I moved the table to
anybody know?
next year.
I agree with Andy to table it till next year.
Well, we still have the lights out, so
Right.
what, I need to call Randy Knapp back.
Well, leave it out,
Oh.
Just
leave it out.
So,
proposal Friday.
Gina?
yeah, so if we are responsible, I would try to get another estimate. If that's possible.
Okay.
But
Yes.
I do think this is smart, switching it over to the LED. It's gonna be a big difference, so.
Okay.
If we're responsible for the
If we're
lights, we might just as well.
responsible, but I understand we gotta do something soon if we are responsible, because having them out is,
Well, we're closing Friday.
right, but we need to still know if the lights are responsible.
But I want to amend and say I agree with Gina that we should get a second estimate.
Oh, Brian said.
If we're responsible for the lights, right?
If we're responsible.
Okay, what's the motion here?
That we get a second estimate.
Yes, thank you.
I'll second that.
But if we're not, Gonna be responsible for them, why bother?
Just an estimate.
No, because all it is a couple minutes of Mike's time.
All right,
I'll second.
second. All right,
Vote.
Rick, do you know where the
Is there a
lights are
Is there
responsibility?
a motion
I
for
thought it was a county road, which means.
anything else on the light?
Well,
Okay.
not lights,
Where
no.
it is.
Katie, can I ask about, maybe I'm missing this, but the,
Sorry, I keep leaning over. Back.
year to date, the profit and loss. We show 57 cents.
No, actually, I adjusted that. There should
Do
be.
you have a new one? Okay, okay,
A new one at the back of your
back.
stack there, but year to date is more or like 5,000.
Yeah, okay.
56 cents.
So,
The September interest was 3,584 and 89 cents.
so you've got, just so everybody can,
It's adjusted on the
Yeah.
spreadsheet. I need to go in and, because for some reason, when I go in to reconcile it's not picking up the totals on those two new accounts.
Right,
So I
right?
need to go back and see where that went wrong.
So there is a, if you look at the original, then Katie's got a. Original goes portrait, this one, I'm sorry, landscape, but this one goes portrait. Showing that instead of 57 cents, we did we made 3,500 plus an interest. For September. That's all I have.
Your motion to pay the bills and communications.
I move.
second.
Motion made, second, any further discussion? I had one discussion. The other night, we had two public hearings. Way at the other end of the county. I want to thank Katie for taking her time. We came to both of them. And between all of them, it was close to 3 hours, so I want to thank her. I thank Mike, but we pay him.
I,
So, fellas, Executive Director update.
Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
also, I don't know if it's on the agenda, and I apologize, but Mr. Miller's asked that his consulting service agreement.
Yeah,
be
that's down,
changed.
that's down below.
It's on the bill.
That's down below.
New business.
Can we do it now because I think it's relevant because of the check,
Sure.
but he's asked that the consulting service agreement be amended to his new LLC that he formed. Revelous LLC. So if it pleases the board, if we could have a
There's
motion,
no other change in the agreement. So
That's
that-
the
Yeah.
only thing.
the only change, so then Justin and I would work on that, just get that
So
changed.
moved.
And we would make that effective as of
10-1.
10/1, so this check could be written to his LLC. He's asked that
Yeah.
this month's check be written to his LLC if that pleases the board.
Yes.
You made the motion.
Thank you.
and there is, yeah, there's no other issues. with-
No, he
with
just
the
formed an
change.
LLC maybe for tax purposes.
No,
or, you know,
I'm all
liability.
right with why he wants to do it. But as far as us, we don't expose ourselves to any risk or any liability or anything else like that.
Well, if he, good question, but I mean. Technically, if he were to breach the agreement, the LLC probably doesn't have any assets as opposed to him, he might have assets in his name. If he were to breach the agreement, we were seeking a judgment, the judgment now would be against an LLC that probably doesn't have any assets versus going after him for a breach individually, and he probably does have assets. That is the downside whenever you do something like this.
So both our attorneys are comfortable with that? With us, Justin, you're comfortable with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Can't hear
Way-
you,
way
Justin.
Two's positive.
Just take some
Yeah,
minutes.
if you
Not
can
for
hear
an
me, yeah,
attorney.
that's fine.
We can require him to put his house in the name of the LLC.
It's the car.
Just- He buys some assets with the LLC, so. I don't know, so, but that is always the issue.
Yeah, we don't want the children, their liabilities.
Yeah, that's true. That's,
the board could ask for the unit to be in both names, but would checks be written, but, you know.
It doesn't
checks be
look like
written.
everyone's muted, Mike. It looks like it's just Justin and Tom.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
There you go.
Okay.
Put in, oh.
I'm all right, as long as you guys are
Oh, no,
comfortable.
I mean, it's,
You okay? Yeah, Justin, did you hear our conversation? You're okay with the
Yeah.
change?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
assignment's fine and Michael's doing this mostly for tax purposes and from your perspective, the services are still being delivered.
And, all right, and as far as liability, it's really just it's really, we pay him, so it's, we have control of the, I guess, the liability.
if he breached any fiduciary duty he has pursuant to the consulting agreement. He's really, LLC's probably judgment proof. I mean, that's.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you're okay with that as well, right, Justin?
That's correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh.
Thank
Carrie,
you.
update from the executive director.
All right, so everybody has a printout here, but I'll go over it briefly, within this last month on project admin basis and continue to meet with our clients' attorneys regarding our active filing negotiations. In addition to the review of proposed pilot structure and everything else that goes with that. So it is related to land, and it's one of the items I'd like to discuss in executive session later today. I've been doing quite a bit of research on deal terms, view analysis and correspondence on that as well. I've been staying in good contact with Mark as it relates to our sewer project, as well as keeping up to speed on our reporting requirements. Mark and I, as well as Brad Olin, are going to meet with the ESD representative Thursday afternoon to go over the MWBE waiver that we're looking to get done on that end there. We also had lots of activity with our public hearings over this last month. And from an operational perspective, one of the big items that has been putting together our proposed 2024 budget. Probably be putting together a much more firm budget, as we're still working through a lot of the details here, considering what's going on with CETA on that end there. Continuing to move things over into the IDA's own accounts, separate from CETA. So working with Katie as it relates to pilot billing and our monthly board prep as well. Lastly, the meeting with our site selection committee, and that's really headed by Steve Lynch. So we had a meeting near the end of last month. There's another property outside of Weedsport that we're taking a hard look at as well, and trying to get a permission to go walk that property and that one there. I'd be happy to talk about that in a little more detail during executive session. Also, I've rejoined the county Micron steering committee as well, which is good. There's a lot of great stakeholders on that committee there, which is important for the IDA, in my opinion. And I've also been corresponding with a rep from Center State CEO, as well as our neighbors to the south, about setting up some potential areas for collaboration as we're moving forward here in the next year. So that's the highlight of the activities here. As always, if you would like a very detailed list of those activities of the prior month, happy to provide as requested.
Thank you, Mike.
Any discussion? Report of the treasurer. Budget report.
Okay, we sort of did that. We're doing very well with interest in terms of what we did with putting all of our bank accounts into Cuba Lake National Bank. Plus, there's a money market at Generations right now that's smaller and earns less. Otherwise, there wasn't a whole lot of activity this month financially. We paid Mike's invoice from earlier in the month, and that and the monthly, NYSEG bills are really all that we paid during the month. We did, send out our pilot invoices on October 2nd. We've gotten checks back from 2 of them, Page Trucking and Grover have sent us their checks. There are a couple of others that are still out there, that I've talked to, so they should all be coming in pretty quickly for the county IDA, so that's, I think, all I have to report on budget.
Motion to accept treasurer's report.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Unfinished, my favorite, sewer line.
Hey, the last couple of weeks, progress, the project survey and stakeout has been completed. We've had a couple of coordination meetings on site, one for the culvert replacement projects as well as the other day coordination with Landco, the contractor who's doing lot 4 work. Coordinated some work as far as timing wise for the pump station install and the road access and all that.
Has that been resolved?
It has been. Yes, it actually went fairly well. We met early Friday morning last week and hashed all it was basically grading issues around the pump station and all that. And
So they're gonna hold up their finishing work till after the pump station and stuff is in, is that?
they're actually going to get ahead of them a little bit and do some access, gravel access lanes and things like that to get in there so that it's going to give some more room for Highlander to work. And it's actually fairly well coordinated, but to your point, the final work end of it will be done after they're out of there. After Highlander's out of there. And don't kill the messenger here, but we're scheduled to be on site actually next week. That's the plan. They're gonna start with the force main work and work their way back to concrete, wet well and valve pit, the pump station structures got delayed about a week and a half. So that's one of the reasons why they're holding off until next week to mobilize, to get that unloaded and also just start the force main work.
Your comment about don't kill the messenger was well taken because the messenger was on the fence at the moment.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sure of that. I've been saying they've been gonna be on site for what, the last 2 meetings, I think.
Yes, you have.
And there's been some things, obviously, delivery of material, and their schedule as well too. They're they have an end date when they're supposed to be done. We got to hold them to that. It's in February.
Okay.
That's gonna happen. I feel confident with that. It's just getting them here to get started, to get them followed up.
So Mark, I thought December was the end date.
It's February 16th, I think it is from the notice to proceed time to the contract time within the documents agreement. It's February.
Okay, so and that February will be everything but the generator, because that's not obviously their fault. That's just okay.
Yes.
But everything else will be done by then. And you're saying part of that is, I'm sure we all want to just get this done, but the other part of it is, it's financial. If we got the pipe in, I think we can submit a bill to EDS. They pay us, we can pay off our loan. So it is costing us some money to not have this work done. That's the bigger part of it. Getting it done is one thing, it'll get done, but it's costing us $1,800 a month right now anyways, to have that loan out there that, it's just sitting. So if you could impress upon whomever, and you're saying they'll be on site Monday?
Next week, so we told her. Exact day, I don't know, next week.
Oh, Okay,
That's
so,
right, John.
well, yeah, I'm gonna call tomorrow my boss and tell him I'll be in next week. Okay, all right, that's, so at worst, well, not 27th, right? 27th next week?
Today's the 17th.
That's what I count on you for. 20, okay, all right, it's next week. Okay,
23rd.
and please know, I'm not holding you responsible for that,
Oh,
so.
but you're trying.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, he's never lied to me.
Uh,
Okay, that's all but it is, other than the, I would say slight annoyance, it is costing us money in real dollars. To not to get that loan discharge, but that's all I have to say.
When's the generator? What's the date on that?
August 2024.
Well, Raymond. Since we're all sitting there, could we have this nice gentleman down here introduced?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I was gonna do that next.
Oh, you were gonna do that next. Sorry to remind you.
No, that's fine.
My name is Andre Store, I'm from Sunny's Development, so I'm just here, just in case something happened with the audio with Mike, and I can explain what's going on, so that's my purpose of being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Come again.
Absolutely.
Good.
Mike, you wanna bring him update about that?
Sure, so because I don't see any CETA reps here unless you were provided.
No, I mean, about the Sunday.
Right, so what we did have prior to what I had sent out last night to our updated item here was authorizing resolutions for the Sunny's projects. I received a note yesterday from their team to have that tabled for now, and I had also asked that Sunny's reps would be able to make themselves available today to give us an update on their projects, just personally for the board, for its own edification, so it's not going through two different people here. So thanks for coming, Andre, and I know there's a number of other members from Sunny's team that are here with us virtually as well. Hopefully they can hear us, and I don't know, because you're the only person on site, if you're getting singled out to provide that update.
So, yeah, Mike, you provided the
Yeah, just as a commo check, this is Mike Beckner. Can you guys hear me? Am I coming through okay?
Yes,
Okay, so I am a little at a loss for where to start. Do you want me to run through updates on the project and then kind of move into the labor waiver requirements and kind of where we're at on that, or how would you guys like me to start?
labor,
Okay, so our goal is to meet your labor requirements. We're in a little bit of a conundrum just from a timing perspective. So the board understands, and I do appreciate you guys taking the time to hear us out on this. Procurement starts about 10 months before mobilization. Meeting the labor requirements, we don't really have visibility on until about 2 months before mobilization. So we're kind of at a point where we're already losing on local sales tax exemption based on the schedule for procurement before mobilization. We're going to do everything we can to meet 100% of your requirements, and we'll absolutely come before the board and explain why some of them we maybe can't meet, or maybe we meet all of them as we get closer to mobilization. But it's somewhat of a chicken and the egg situation where we just can't definitively tell you at this point in time. And what we don't want to do is try to definitively tell you what we can meet and then not meet it. So what I had talked to Michael and Justin about, and the rest of my team had discussed, is, is it okay for us to, show the board the attempt we made to meet all these requirements. And if we couldn't meet them, show the board why we couldn't meet them. And, there's several moving pieces here that makes it really complicated on the developer. On one hand, you have specialized skills, which that's a challenge locally. On the other hand, you also, from the delays with procurement due to COVID and all those various other things, you have a ton of solar projects across the state that are going to be built that are all under the same requirements. And they're going to be pulling from, the local communities, the state, what have you. And it's really going to be, it's just going to be challenging, and it's kind of an unknown environment. So I guess, in a perfect world, which I also understand the board's point, right? The board wants something definitive, agreed to, but I hope you also understand the position I'm in, that we don't know. It's an uncertain environment. And our goal would be to get an authorizing resolution, be able to get the sales tax exemption, and then come to the board and just explain if there are some requirements of the local labor requirements that we can't meet. Just explain to the board why we couldn't meet it. It's really not a money issue. It's really more of a what is the local labor ability to fill these positions issue. So I like I said, I talked to Michael and Justin about it, and that's really our position. In a perfect world, all the labor is local. We're partners with the community. Our success is based on the success of how we work with the local communities, the landowners, what have you. We're just kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. So just wanted to explain that to the board. That's all. And
yeah.
happy to answer any questions.
Sure. So I guess the question I would have is, when is the plan to start the project?
So we have a building permit issued at Dog Corners. We've already procured equipment for the substation, i.e. control house, various other things that we've lost out on the sales tax exemption. But both projects, the goal would be to start construction May, June. Through the winter, because there's a window for clearing trees based on DEC regulations. We'll clear some trees between November and April 1st, which is the window to not disturb bat habitats. But yeah, both projects are ready to go.
Okay, so then my follow-up question would be, since you're fairly close to it, I would imagine you have a list of all the individuals and their specific, what do I want to say, specialties that you'll be needing to use. For instance, you just mentioned cutting down trees, so you would have built in how many people you will need for that. Fencing, landscaping, I would imagine that's all part of the budget plan you've put together.
It is, but because procurement starts before all of that, we're still in the process of reaching out to local labor unions and local contractors to put it together. And what my concern is if I tell the board definitively, these are the number of people, we're going to use locally, and something changes, then what happens at that point? So what I had asked Justin and Michael, if they were okay with, and I completely understand your position. What happens if I definitively say something that I can't meet? And I just don't want to end up in that position. But at the same time, you know, I do want it to be clear to the board that we're going to do everything in our power to meet those local labor requirements. And we will come before the board and explain any instance that we can't meet them.
So just speaking for myself, and Herb, you might chime in afterwards, but just speaking for myself, I would say, you know, I don't think we're unreasonable. You spoke about a rock and a hard place. Well, that's pretty much where we are as well. You know, we're offering benefits and we certainly want the local labor to benefit from what we are offering to you. But we're again, speaking for myself, I would certainly not expect you to meet 100% if it was impossible. For instance, if you came back to us from a union hall of electricians and each union hall signed off that they have absolutely no people available to you, you know, that I would certainly look at that and not hold that against you. But on the other hand, if you just tell me that there were no available electricians, then I might question that.
And
That's-
I'm happy to show you in whatever terms you want why we can't hit the target. I'm not concerned about this. This isn't Wall Street and just doing this over money. It's just the availability of local labor. That's really my only concern.
Okay, Herb?
I think it's fairly simple. If he doesn't meet the labor requirements, he loses part of his benefit.
I agree.
Well, in the last one that we had presented, didn't we say the same thing?
Yeah.
Did he hear that? Did you hear that, young man? Did you hear that?
I heard you, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard it, but I guess I'm not clear on what exactly you're saying. Are you saying that until such point in time we can commit to something definitively, that you won't move forward with an authorizing resolution?
Yes, that's true.
That's what we're
Okay.
saying.
I have nothing else to add.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, see the update. Again, we can do that in executive session.
Yeah.
You were the reason why.
I was this time. Thank you.
She would have come.
Thank you.
Leslie's, if he comes
Uh,
afterwards.
Report of finance committee.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So the finance committee
Have a
met.
good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
The finance committee, finance audit committee met. The majority of the discussion was around the budget going into next year. And discussion was specifically around what numbers do we use? Because Michael's got to put a budget together and submit it to Paris. And that has to be done by the end of the month. And so we reviewed the budget as it has been in the past. And then Michael added in Michael and Katie added in two other columns that we needed to look at. And those columns, and I think they're all in front of you and got some yellow on there, are column one, that we assume that we would absorb CETA, and by that, it would be, if I understood Mr. Marshall correctly, it would be to absorb the income as well as the staff and most of the expenses. And then option number 2 would have been that we contract out with CETA for work that we need done through them. After a discussion, the finance committee recommends at this point that we go with the first option and give Michael instruction to fill out the Paris budget. That would include IDA absorbing, I shouldn't say absorbing CETA, it should be absorbing the income and the expenses that CETA would currently have at this point.
That's motion.
Now, that's what the board recommend, that's what the committee recommends, yes.
Your second. Discussion. On favor, any opposed? D, CETA board position, the committee review.
So everybody should have that in your printout here. This is just a summary, as requested in the last meeting, of all the board members' terms.
Didn't see that.
And positions and committee members. This is usually something you all vote on near the end of the year. I think during annual meeting. I can't recall who had asked on it last.
I think we
Last
talked, we talked that we thought we
Yeah.
could discuss it earlier than
Right.
later,
So I wanted to make sure you all had that now to look at, and
because we have to make a decision by January or in June,
in December.
in December. Okay,
Who's up?
So.
Gene. Alan myself.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
There's our shot.
no, the committee serves at the will of the board, so if the board wants to reappoint those members, then the board can do that. County has nothing to do with that. County has approval. No, right?
County, I thought the chair approves the members. Approves
That's
that.
what you gotta do, but the first motion has to be done.
I can't recommend myself.
Yeah, we got a
but that's not-
recommendation.
Yeah, we give a recommendation. Yes, the board itself decides whether we want to.
I
Put
would
you
think
up.
that-
The
that
recommendation.
The
of the county.
board would make a
Correct.
recommendation.
Correct, it's always done that.
Now, we need to think this through. We have a chance here to get.
No, that's what I'm saying. I just said that to Andy.
Quieter meeting.
I just said that to Andy, but nobody's listening.
He hasn't called me.
I don't think
Really?
Bob's
Yeah.
talking about
What
you,
did you do?
Gina.
I don't know.
I strongly recommend Gina.
I love it.
And I support Paul.
Strongly, and my voice just went. It's
Who's up?
Herb and
You heard Gina.
I would recommend all three.
I think you're safe.
I would recommend all three to, as a proposal
Motion
to
that-
legislature.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? I think we just have it. All in favor? Oh. Upcoming events.
Mr. Chairman, can I,
Mike, you can send that to the county
Yeah.
ledger, one of you.
can I just, I realized that in my finance presentation. I just want to make sure it's clear, the proposal we voted on was for Michael to submit the absorbed CETA numbers to Paris. That was not a proposal that should necessarily happen. That's still being worked on, those, all that, but since we.
The committee discussed that and
Correct.
felt it was safe to do it that way, and if that doesn't work out.
Then we'll pull that all
We
out.
would have another meeting to adjust the budget accordingly.
Yes.
Is that not right, John?
Correct, yes.
Herb, I talked to the guy, David was his name, Paul. David from the solar farm
Yeah,
folks. He was gonna be here tomorrow morning. He's gonna wait till next week when the contractor shows up so we can talk.
he's going to bring pipe. Is what he's doing.
He says the pipe's delivered already.
Wow.
He agreed to furnish 2-foot pipe for the smaller culvert. And Soil and Water was going to furnish the 4-foot pipe for the big culvert. If he brings the 4-foot pipe, that's fine, then we don't have to.
His site rep, I can't remember the name now, he said he's gonna check to see if the pipe is here and get it back to him on that. Okay.
He didn't specify both sizes of pipe, or did he not? He just said the pipe is
He
there.
said the pipe is here. I don't know if it's just the pipe that was his responsibility or. So water.
But
No,
that's the way it is.
the only responsibility Soil Water has is none. Doug ordered the pipe, we admit,
Okay.
I think we paid Doug for the pipe, but that's all. Soil Water's involvement
Okay.
was getting the pipe, and he's had it for 2 years.
So 50 foot of 48 inch and.
I don't know,
40
you
feet
have
of-
to ask Doug.
Yeah, that's what's on the proposal anyway. So,
We've had it for years.
Okay.
When this whole culvert thing come up, we just board authorized Doug to go ahead and get it.
The small culvert was only 1-foot pipe, which was just.
Doug didn't have anything to do with that.
No, and we felt 1 foot was, there's no reason to put that back in because it won't do anything. And,
Doug's got some 15 inches out there.
but apparently they're going to furnish,
The point. And then we'll.
Let's-
we're gonna meet
let's
next
just
week
see
to talk
let's
about it.
see, okay,
Who's-
thank you for checking on that for me.
Sorry to interrupt. Who's installing the pipe on the IDA land? Highlander?
Highlander met with us out there a week ago. And is presenting a proposal to Mark for what they will charge to put that in while they're there. And they discussed with Carl what stone they had to put in with the pipe because it was not put in properly the first time, which is why it
Right.
came in.
Well, let's not say that in a public meeting. What I would suggest is that it sounds like you're getting a change order from Highlander to do a little extra work. And they're gonna install pipe that's been provided by Water and Sewer or Water and Soil, which is fine. Let Highlander give you a number and then install that pipe. They're already insuring you as your contractor under contract. There's no issues there. In no way, shape, or form should a neighboring property owner be giving them any direction or control over what you're putting in your property. Just put that out there. So let Highlander do their job. If they have a change order that you think is okay, you'll accept that at your next meeting and probably ratify it if it's already in the ground. But don't let Norbert talk to Highlander's machine guys out there. That's my only advice I can give you publicly.
Good advice. Herb,
Yes,
you gotta be out there next week.
somebody has to be out there. If the sun.
I
is
just told
shining-
my boss I'll be in next week.
He's got soybeans.
Thanks for doing that for me, Mark.
Put on your boots and make sure that your guys are in control. That's all.
Talking to you, Herb, not me.
I'm Justin, I'm listening even though I'm looking the other way. Okay, we're going into executives.
Let's just upcoming events.
Yeah.
ABO training
October 25th.
here,
No, it's all online, so whoever needs it or like to.
sexual harassment, the completed prior to the end of the year. I'll probably do that through Fun and Water.
Okay.
Yeah, anything else?
Mike, what do you need? Because I have to do it through my work,
Yeah, and
the
I've
sexual
done it through
harassment. So what do
I
you
think
need?
if you just submit that, that should be acceptable there.
All right, so I gotta get some type of certificate or something.
And
Okay.
for anyone else, Katie had found a resource from the state that can be done online. So that can all be done there. And we've got our next meeting. It's gonna be Tuesday.
Can you
20
email that to us?
Yep.
When you say online,
Computer with
My-
the screen?
my recollection is
Oh.
we should come here to an office, we could do it together.
if you would like, we could have that
Well, I'm not
arranged.
an online, very good at online stuff.
Okay,
Well, and if you're not working directly for somebody, it's
Right,
not provided, so.
Yeah,
So we can have that arranged.
okay.
If you've done it for some other place,
Yeah.
if you can just send the certificate and that's.
Yeah,
Okay,
All we need,
okay, I'll send it to you, Katie.
yeah.
Here, let me sign them.
and then next month, our meeting's on the 21st. But Thanksgiving's the 23rd, so I know everyone's having Thanksgiving here, I would assume, so. So okay for that, I know some other boards are moving their meeting
No,
up
I'm fine
the
with
prior week. Are you sick with the 21st?
I'm fine with it.
Okay,
What do you bring?
Thanksgiving here, when you say that,
Do we?
this room,
Pumpkin roll?
you
we'll
could
do it
do that.
all, we'll do it all online.
Yeah, will the turkey be provided?
Yeah.
We-
Okay. So if you have,
If you want to.
It's from me. yeah.
No, he just second.
Okay.
okay,
Okay, Rick,
Make a motion to go in executive.
the purpose, Rick is,
Contracts, negotiations, purchase, possible purchase or sale of real property and contract negotiations.
all in favor?